Yeah, there, folks. Oh, it's still very snowy out here. I wonder what it's like where you are. Hope you're having a good time and that, and I wonder how your year's started, really. 2013, it started different than I expected in a way. But after all of these prophecies for the end of 2012, personally, I knew that that the date would come and go, and nobody would see any remarkable changes, and it would leave us all pretty much kind of futureless, you know, planless in that sense. You know, no big consciousness change, no big world-changing events. But the big event that did take place is like this kind of confusion, I think. I don't know if you've noticed it as well, but things have changed a little bit. I've had a lot of time to think as well through not having an internet connection of my own and just uploading these videos, just thinking to myself, you know, all sorts. And thinking that in 2013, you know, 2012 was a year where I said, okay, you know, I'll just moan and rant about stuff for that year. And 2013 is for me maybe a year where I try and go with more positive energy, if positive is the right word. I don't really, you know, I'm an optimistic person anyway, because pessimism is a hard road to take, and the script never ends well. So I've got an underlying pessimism, but I'm optimistic, and so therefore I don't want to make this channel into something that's really a rant, although ranting is really a part of life. It's really a necessity to break through that hypocrisy and ignorance, to make us understand what's necessity in life. I don't know what I'm trying to say in this video. I've just had a lot of time to think. I got a question from a subscriber, you know, to talk about a few issues and stuff, and I did a video of that. It was quite good. I just didn't get the time to upload it. Didn't get upload time, so I may upload it at a later date. But at the same time, I thought about, you know, what do I want to talk about? Really, I want to talk about, you know, on the one hand, how fucked the system is, how corrupt the government is, you know, how asleep we all are as people, in a way. How things need to change, how there's a lot of people who think that it's like that and you just have to deal with it. There's a lot of people who just think that that's the way the world is and it's not fair and it never will be fair. And I think to myself, you know, rather than just waste my time just doing things to pass the time, you know, to think about, at least think about, contemplate, you know, this thing of how to make the world the place you want it to be. And it's quite an absurd notion, really, isn't it? It's quite an absurd notion. You know, when I look on YouTube, on the internet, at videos and video makers, there's quite a lot of people talking out about controversial things, you know, government corruption and secret societies and corrupt banking, all that lot. But it doesn't seem to have got really more. I mean, there's maybe more people, I don't know, but maybe we've reached a critical mass, you know, maybe everybody who's going to sing about this stuff, it is, you know, already putting up channels and stuff. I don't know, but it doesn't seem to be getting any more urgent. I don't know what I'm making of this video. Yeah, because like you know, there's a lot of really good ideas about how to run a new society. For example, you know, anarchy, true anarchy, you know, which means each man is his own master and woman, of course. And capitalism, you know, the way of money, and a free market, you know, and all of these things without a state, without a government. And that really excites me to look at that. Ooh, how exciting. You know. But it does really, it's quite exciting to look at how a society could run itself based on just natural human thing, you know, necessity, coexistence. I think there's a general kind of attitude that human beings are deep down nasty, horrible, greedy human beings, and I wouldn't necessarily have to disagree. I find that generally, though, you know, on a time thing, most of the time people seem to be alright. Otherwise, you know, it's the same as, like, you know, you go near a wasp's nest. You know, they don't all come out and want to sting you. You know, animals don't want to attack all the time, otherwise they'd just be constantly attacking. So you've got this normal about people trying to get along. Now, put in a government or a state or you know, a church or whatever to mix that up, to take away that natural law that's in the heart, in the spirit, you know, where you've got nobody looking after you. You're just there, and there's a mutual thing that everybody looks after each other, or looks out for each other, should I say. You know, people are going to be nasty or not nasty, or greedy or not greedy, with or without governments. You know, with all of these legislations and laws, it just means that the outlaws, the lawbreakers, whatever you want to call them, people, criminals, have got a ticket to do, a ticket to whatever, to do whatever they would want, really. You know, take the guns thing, you know, gun laws, no one's allowed a gun. So the only people who have got guns are police and criminals. You know, it's the worst type of people well, you know. And so a lot of the ideas that we've got about society and how bad it is, it's just simply, in my opinion, are simply just overhyped. Just the way a lot of things can be hyped, you know. Musicians and artists and architects, fashion designers, totally hyped. Just like how bad the system is, you know. You know, really, when we mention, like, not having a government, it always comes back down to, yeah, but who's going to run the hospitals? Who's going to, you know, do the roads, and who's going to look after the people? Well, people will look after people. Wherever there's problems, there's services to be sold, and wherever there's, you know, people, there's services. And it's only the government that makes such a messed up economy that just tips. The game is rigged, you know. It's like if you was to play a game of chess and the other person was allowed to cheat, there'd be no real point in playing, would there? You know, not just out of fairness, just simply out of the fact that that type of game just isn't viable. It just isn't a game, is it? It's just a lie. You know, when you're outnumbered like millions, billions of people to one or whatever, or, you know, 1 million people to one, or when you think you're outnumbered 1 million to one, that everybody thinks different. That you know, that all of those people think that, for example, agriculture, we need agriculture, we need standard farming, you know. When 1 million people think that, and one person says, oh no, we need to go back to natural organic farming methods, you know, then it doesn't matter who's right or wrong. You know, if you're outnumbered, it doesn't matter how right you are, you still don't kind of believe in yourself. You know, it's very difficult to believe in your own answers when you're outnumbered 1 million to one. You know, it's crazy. You know, so the question often comes up, is there really, is there really a big conspiracy? And, is there really a ruling elite? Well, it seems very that much that way. And if you work it out logically, you would obviously come up with a set of families that had inherited power, that would have the most leverage. And therefore, by default, you would end up having an elite set of families, pretty much staying in the shadows, running a lot of things to their own desire. But I ask myself, would they want things to be better? Are we just poor students? Are we just poor pupils? Is this a school of life? And before we can learn to live in a free market system where we're not governed, but we have to resolve our disputes as human beings, do we need to learn that first? Is this the lesson? School isn't to teach us information, but school is to teach us to watch out for false authority. School is there to teach us not to sit in a chair any longer and take somebody telling us what to do. School was there to teach us that you can't learn. You can't live a life from learning from a blackboard or a whiteboard, or no matter which politically correct named board you've got. School is there to try and make you the same as everybody else at your age. School. And there's loads of brilliant ways. I love it, I do. I just sit there and think to myself, how could school work? How could a new system work? And I think, it's easy. It's easy. Really easy. Everybody would love it. Everybody have more time, more fun. It'd almost be like there was no more work in life involved. Because everybody would be getting on so well by default. Instead of everybody doing what everybody else thinks everybody expects everybody else to do. A normal human being, a normal child, for example. Take a young child, each child has got different passions, different desires, and even though they can't express those desires, they're still on a very, very early stage in life, almost found the start of their path, and they begin to follow it. And then when school comes, the school ignores that, what the child's really destined to do. That child passion of the child. So the child is almost like thrown into a library and given a book and has to learn the subject at hand. So imagine the situation where the child wants to, let's say, I don't know, tour the world in a sailing boat. So the child goes to school and learns about geography, has a real desire to learn about geography, but not yet has a desire to do handwork. So the child then goes on to learn other things, sewing and sea navigation and whatever, and not just class lessons. So by the time the child's got through all of the things to do with like shipping around the world in a boat, they've covered maths, English, geography, history, religion, all of the subjects, but in a different order. Now, people might say, oh yeah, but you need public tutoring. Yeah, but the thing is like we all learn from each other. So the school classroom isn't just the teacher is the hierarchical godhead of teaching. You've got a classroom full of people of all different ages. And you've got little kids who know more about particular things in that subject than somebody of maybe 60. It's already the case with computers as another subject, So we see how kids can really take off if we just give them the resources and give them the trust and that. And just thinking about that makes me so excited, and the ideas of permaculture, reforming the land so that its water distribution is keeping the soil nourishable, and that by planting diverse plantage, you know, trees and shrubs and plants and stuff, all working off each other, it's self-sustaining. You can have a self-sustaining fruit forest where you can go in and pick the fruit. And that's how forests should be, really. I mean, this is all monoculture around here. It's all here. It's been planted especially. This isn't natural. So, you know, a lot of what we think is natural is just hundreds of years of, like, industry farming nature. And it's doing it wrong. And when we do it right, it can, you know, you can turn a desert back into a landscape in a matter of a few years, you know. It could just happen just over a matter of a few weeks, that just things turn right, in a sense. But yeah, that's always up to us, isn't it? It's always up to us. Of course. You know, there's a lot of videos on the internet, a lot of conspiracy videos, a lot of stuff about the banking system, and I think that's really important that we know all of these things. I think it's in 2013. I think it started to change. I don't know if it's getting less. I don't know if it's like silence before the storm. But I've got the feeling that that in 2009, 2010, there was a lot more activity as far as events go. Maybe it's just because I'm disconnected from the internet. But things are changing. Things are changing. Things started changing literally around the 2012 prophecy period. Really, probably. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think? Do you think things have changed? I think it's gone for the mundane. You know, it's very mundane, strange. Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I've said anything in this video. I might make another one anyway if I haven't said anything. But yeah, I hope you're having a good time. And yeah, I hope you're having a good time. Yeah, what I wanted to say is, you know, it's all about the now, isn't it? It's very difficult, this here and now thing. But if you was imagining a sailing boat, you know, now is where the boat is. Or if you're in a car, you don't look sideways at where now is. You know, you tend to look in front of the car. So it's how much distance do we look ahead, sort of thing, you know. And the here and now involves here and all the way in front. And I'm not sure whether, like, you know, the last 10 years have kind of held people back, and now it's time to catapult into the future. I think there's a lot of ideas already set up. I think there's a lot of things ready to go. So I'm quite excited. Yeah, let me know what you think anyway. If you've noticed any changes, whether it's slowed down or speeded up, or... And have a good time, and I'll see you in the next video. Have fun. Cheerio.